Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Raw results from this week and your internet WWE Network superstars. But first, always some wrestling news. Dallas Cade DDP has been officially announced as the presenter for Jake Roberts at the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. According to a press release, Roberts lived with DDP on his DDP Yoga. According to this link, you can verify it yourself. I'll post there. He seemed like a slam dunk to serve as the presenter for Roberts, given everything he did to help to better Jake the Snake's health, and soon to be presented with the WWE Hall of Fame. Get clean. This release also notes that Page will be hosting DDP yoga workshops at the Holiday Inn in New Orleans, West Bank, on April the 4th and 5th during the WrestleMania 30 weekend. Zack Ziggler attended the NXT Arrival event at Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida, as the first arrival on the WWE Network. In the pre-show dark match, Mason Ryan defeated Sylvester Laporte with his weak Cobra Clutch Slam. After the main event, John Cena got in the ring and put Adrian Neville over, and Cena said he'd keep it brief, and a guy in the crowd yelled, "Good." Cena buried the guy, and Cena said he knows it's 2 hours past the guy's curfew, but Cena talked to his mom and got him off the hook. It's a hilarious portion of the show. Neville went to the top rope, top of the ramp, and Triple H raised his hand. Then he sent Neville down to the ring for one final pop. He did the corkscrew moonsault off the top, landing on his feet to send the crowd home happy. Happy birthday goes to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, a.k.a. Richard Blood. He turned 61 years old on Monday. He was born February 28th, I believe, 1953, and continues to work for WWE. NXT trainer Norman Smiley turned 49 years old. He was born February 28th, 1965. Masato Tanaka turned 41. He was born February 28th, 1973. The late Dewey Robertson, formerly known as Missing Link, was born February 28th, 1939. He died August 16th, 2007, after a battle with cancer. Former WWE Women's Champion Deborah turned 54 years old. Also today would have been the 33rd birthday of former WWE star Lance Cade and the 49th birthday of Hall of Famer Mike Von Erich. WWE Hall of Famer Booker T turned 49 years old, while Intercontinental Champion Big E turned 28. WWE Diva Emma turned 25, and former WCW star Scotty Riggs turns 43. The announced team for last night's, tapings from Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton, and William Regal were the announced team. And then Tom Phillips and Alex Riley and Tensai, who was announced as Jason Alberts. The Undertaker has been added to March 24th, WWE Raw from Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Brock Lesnar is also scheduled for that same Raw. And I will be announcing more dates later on in this show. Former TNA knockout SoCal Val was in the crowd for the NXT Arrival event last week on the network. Former WWE star Virgil has a minor role in a new independent movie called Bridge and Tunnel. Producers cast Virgil after they saw him selling autographs in New York City's Grand Central Station. And here's a trailer, and I'll post that link right here as well on YouTube. NXT taping event from Winter Park, Florida at Full Sail University, reported by .NET staffer Zach Zimmerman, who was also at the show as well. Dark match. New Age Outlaws defeated Jason Jordan and Ty Dillinger. Decent match for what it was. The crowd was into the Outlaws. There's some potential in the Jordan pairing. Jordan and Dillinger pairing. Episode 1. Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton, William Regal on commentary. NXT champion Adrian Neville defeated Camacho with the red arrow in a non-title match. Renee interviewed Neville in the ring, and he said that the last night was indescribable. He said not a prototype. He said he looks like an elf, comes from a place that nobody knows exists, and he has an accent that nobody can understand. He said that you could question all of those about him, but nobody can question what he does in the ring, and the NXT title proves that. Good promo. He sounded composed and confident. Bo Dallas interrupted him and said he always tells his believers to be good sports, but last night was unfair because Neville didn't pin him. He said he was cashing in his rematch soon and reclaiming the NXT title. Charlotte, with Sasha Banks, if you didn't know, that's Ric Flair's daughter, defeated Emma with a somersault cutter. Charlotte feigned a leg injury and then hit her finish on a distracted Emma. Match number 3, Corey Graves defeated Yoshitatsu by countout. Yeah, he was sent back to NXT. Graves cut a promo on Sami Zayn before the match, talking about how Zayn never won, but the people still love him. Graves beat the hell out of Tatsu afterwards. Graves applied the Lucky 13 until Sami Zayn made a save. Zayn said he didn't know that he had an issue, but now they do. He said he wanted a match with Graves tonight. Match number 4, Solomon Crowe defeated Sylvester Lafort with his back slingshot splash. Fine debut for Crowe, aka Sami Callihan. The crowd was really into him there, as are plenty of smart fans here. And your main event, Sami Zayn defeated Corey Graves with a small package. Pretty good match. Episode number 2, Tom Phillips, Tensai, and Alex Adam Lee Bad Riley on commentary, as one of the reporters was commenting on him. Tensai was announced as earlier as Jason or David Albert. NXT Women's Champion, match number 1, Paige defeated Sasha Banks with Charlotte in a non-title match with her Neely Clove Relief Chicken Wing Stretch. Fine match. Charlotte attempted or attacked Paige after that until Natalia's music hit and made the save. NXT Tag Champions, The Ascension, defeated Travis Tyler and Cal Bishop in a non-title match. The Ascension went over with the Fall of Man. Match number 3, Mason Ryan defeated Wesley Blake with a Cobra Clutch Slam. Before Tyler Breeze and Xavier Woods could start, Alexander Rusev interrupted. Breeze attacked Woods from behind and ducked out of the ring, leaving Woods for Rusev. Match number 4, Rusev with Lana defeated Xavier Woods. Rusev won with an accolade. Bo Dallas then defeated Colin Cassidy with a double underhook DDT. The match went way longer than it needed to. Not very good. And that was your main event for that episode of NXT. Unknown when that's actually going to happen, probably this week. Episode number 3, Tom Phillips again was joined by Regal and Saxon at the commentary. Well, it looks like A-Ride gets a 1 week show and then off a week. 1 week show, off a week. Match number 1, Mojo Rawley defeated Bull Dempsey. New England Patriots key Rob Gronkowski was in the crowd wearing a Mojo shirt in his support of the former NFL superstar. Adam Rose defeated Camacho with his lariat. This is a new gimmick, fantastic. Rose came out leading a Village People-esque dance, whatever you will call it, posse, and performed a trust fall into their arms from the apron before they could body surf him around the ring. The crowd ate it up just great. So much fun. Bayley with Natalya defeated Sasha Banks with Charlotte. Bayley won with a roll-up. Match number 4, Sheamus beat Aiden English with the blow kick. Before the match, Sheamus tried to sing a song of his own, but English attacked him from behind. The crowd was way behind Sheamus big time. That was your 4-match show for that event. which will probably be next week. And episode number 4, Mojo Rawley defeated C.J. Parker. Parker had a meltdown post-match. Match number 2, Tyler Breeze pins Xavier Woods. Breeze got the win after the beauty shot. Match number 3, Corey Graves forced Yoshitatsu to submit to the Lucky 13 move. Post-match, Graves said that Sami Zayn got the message after last week and said that if he's smart, he should stay down. Match number 4, Natalya with Bret the Hitman Hart defeating Charlotte, the daughter of Ric Flair, with Sasha Banks. By DQ, Sasha interfered for the disqualification finish. And your main event, Adrian Neville defeated Bo Dallas to retain the NXT title. Neville scored the pinfall after an imploding 450 splash, which was a very nice match. Okay, before losing to Batista on last week's SmackDown, Dolph Ziggler cuts a promo on the WWE app about why he interrupted Batista earlier in the show. Dolph says talents were told there's no room for them at WrestleMania 30. So here's what he said in his promo. It was a bold move on my part, Batista, but he's been unstoppable. But there's one thing that's going to stop you in this business. In this day and age, no matter who you are, guaranteed a main event spot at WrestleMania, no matter who says you come back and we'll worship you and kiss your feet and do everything in your power to make sure you're there. You leave out of the WWE universe. I'm someone who made my entire career based on the WWE universe. I wasn't supposed to be anybody. I was supposed to be a punching bag for guys on their way to the top. I was supposed to be someone who got laughed at and kicked in the face and people cheered somehow, some way. Everything I've done from 5 years old to high school, to college, everything I've wanted to do is the best, whether I was in school, standing up for other kids. I did it when I was in college as a captain of my team. I stood up for my team. Here in the WWE, I stand for this entire roster. I can't make them be the superstars they want to be, but I can make an example, and that's tonight. I make an example of Batista. Some people have had handed opportunities. Some are told you're going to WrestleMania no matter what you do. No matter who you are, we worship you and you're going to WrestleMania. Some people are told straight to their face they don't have what it takes. That can't be a headliner at WrestleMania tonight. Not only do I stand up for myself, I stand up for every single superstar who was told that there's no room for you on WrestleMania. WrestleMania 30, the biggest WrestleMania of all time. People told that there's no room tonight. I make an example. I make room tonight. I become the next man in WrestleMania. A segment that was scripted into last Monday's Raw from Green Bay that would have seen Batista turn heel, but it was pushed back to Tuesday's SmackDown tapings and toned down a bit. And I've already given that results. The original plan was for Randy Orton to come out and talk about how fans boo Batista and like him more than they do Batista, and they lost to Alberto Del Rio, supposed to be the breaking point for Batista to go ape shit on the fans to turn heel. The idea was that Orton unleashed the animal. The decision was made to tone the segment down for Raw. Even before he actually turned on SmackDown, the idea was to do a few segments and matches over the next few weeks or so to build the heel turn, but they wanted it to go ahead with it anyway. General Mills' website posted a blog about Stephanie McMahon's visit to their company's headquarters last week. Stephanie was there to talk about WWE as part of the partnership the company has with the GM brand Totino's. Stephanie talked about the WWE's approach to marketing, growing its audience and community outreach. CM Punk is expected to return on tonight's Raw in Chicago, Illinois, according to Dave Meltzer on today's edition of Monday's edition of Wrestling Observer Radio. We have to listen to the radio. I did not get the link. I do apologize. While Meltzer's Didn't say he's 100% sure Punk will be at the show. His source, who says he is one of the biggest stars in the industry, and that's 100% certain. Punk has been absent from WWE programming since the Raw following the Royal Rumble on January 27th. Meltzer reported Punk has legitimately left the event after telling Vince McMahon he was going home by the following Wednesday. The official WWE website stopped advertising Punk for future events. The matter was publicly acknowledged by McMahon on February 20th during a quarterly conference call to investors, with the CEO replying to a query concerning his status. He's taking a sabbatical. Let's just put it that way. Okay. There are fans online who have been pushing hashtag Hijack Raw on upcoming Raw tapings, including Monday's Raw for Chicago. There's also a Twitter account set up to encourage fans to take over Monday's show. WWE officials are aware of this and are planning accordingly. Well, the only thing that I could take from this is there was a loud CM Punk chant during the Raw portion of the TV. And I'm pretty sure that you can hear it on SmackDown tapings as well. Dolph Ziggler and Damien Sandow are featured in a new Man Wars video, and I'll post that link right here, from Old Spice, arguing over who is the manliest WWE superstar. And you follow that link on, of course, YouTube. All Pro Wrestling, APW, announced that Drake Younger, real name Drake Wirtz, has signed a WWE contract. He is advertised for his final APW match against Adam Thornstowe on March 15th in Daly City, California. And as I just gave you the results, he's done some of the tapings already, if I'm not mistaken. You can read the official announcement at facebook.com. I'll put that in there. The link. Younger is only 30, will turn 30 in September. And started as a backyard wrestler, and eventually made his way to the indie scene. He has worked for a number of promotions, including Combat Zone Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. He recently announced that he had a tryout at the WWE Performance Center, and obviously it appears that resulted in a developmental deal, but also maybe just as a referee from another source, but surely has signed, and that's also PW Sports. Condolences go to the family and friends and fans of the UK's Billy Robinson, who passed away this week at the age of 74. Mr. Robinson was well known as one of the legitimate tough guys in the business and was the foremost expert in catch wrestling in the world. His work can be found on YouTube. It's simply amazing. What you don't know about Buff Bagwell, currently going as a male gigolo. Former WCW star Buff Bagwell, aka Marcus Alexander Bagwell, is now a gigolo with internet male escort site CowboysForAngels.com. The site, which is featured in the Showtime original series Gigolos, offers Bagwell prices ranging from $800 for only 2 hours of services to $25,000 for a full week. You can read more at the I'll post that link as well, TMZ.com. For those of you asking, wait, isn't Bagwell married? The answer is yes. Apparently, Ms. Bagwell doesn't have a problem with this sort of thing. Of course, $25,000 a week can buy a lot of forgetfulness for some people. JR's Barbecue reports on Alex Riley in a commentary role. Impressed with Alex Riley on the pregame and postgame panel on the WWE Network. Alex comes by his talking skills and naturally and seemingly has a long, productive future in his current role. I enjoy working with Alex in NXT and feel he's a potential star on the network. Going to have to agree to disagree with JR here. I find Riley bland and corporate. I know. He doesn't take away from the product, but I don't feel like he enhances it either. He may be very good one day, but I'm not impressed yet, from my opinion. Of course, that was the reporter's opinion on that. I love Alex Riley, even though he's heel on Facebook. Of course, that's their gimmick they have to follow. And then JR comments on Josh Matthews. Host Josh Matthews always seemed more comfortable in his more comfortable in his host role on the panel, but the panelists talking over each other's endlessly needs to listen. I think that they are pre and post game shows and have unlimited potential. I like the casting of Matthews in this new role. Here, JR and I are perfect agreement. The panels need to settle down a little bit. Everyone is trying to get over at the same time. That's a little bit big of a mess. It will get better as they go along. Always have personally enjoyed Matthews over Michael Cole when allowed to be the straight man and like his work here as well. JR commented on the TNA has a pay-per-view this Sunday. A match from South Florida called Lockdown. It troubles me that Kurt Angle is once again being saddled up and ridden into a mid-card match at this stage of his game. Just an observation and not attacking TNA Impact, who I hope continue to develop their own identity, and they play to their strengths, which is bell-to-bell physicality and aggressive storytelling. I understand JR's point about Angle, but in this case, I think TNA gets a pass because Angle should put over the new kid, and Ethan Carter as Angle's getting closer to leaving TNA when his contract expires. That's what veterans who are leaving are supposed to do, as JR said. North American Wrestling Rankings blog reports that Daniel Bryan received his 100th television win when he defeated Kane on WWE Main Event last night, and they wrote, when Daniel Bryan defeated Kane on the 3/4/14 taping episode of him on the WWE Main Event, it was his 100th televised win. This makes him only the 13th wrestler to reach this milestone since the MARW began keeping records behind only CM Punk, John Cena, Randy Orton, Sheamus, Kane, Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, Big Show, Mark Henry, Alberto Del Rio, The Miz, and Dolph Ziggler. Others knocking on the door to the century mark are Christian with 93 wins, Rey Mysterio with 92 wins as of March 4th, 2014. Kevin Nash attended the Tennessee basketball game over the weekend for the retirement ceremony of former teammate Dale Ellis. Before the game, a video of highlights from Nash's wrestling career was shown. Nash later revealed on Twitter that his name was etched into the University of Tennessee Letterman Wall of Fame on campus. WWE NXT talents were told at the recent TV tapings that the NXT product would be pushed more significantly now that the WWE network is up and running. Talents were also told that the company wants to get behind NXT as a pure wrestling product within the WWE. They were also told that while some people may be brought up, like Emma, it's going to be a slow process and for everyone to be patient with the idea that with the network, they'll all be getting lots of exposure even without a call-up. Ring of Honor star ACH Albert Pearl Jr. will be at the next WWE tryout camp with Kevin Steen and Roderick Strong. As noted, WWE has signed former CZW champion Drake Younger and will begin working at the Performance Center very soon. As he has already attended the December WWE tryouts, which were described as overall having the least amount of talent as any other WWE trials in recent memory. WWE's website is still offering a free trial to the WWE Network. Now it's a 2-week offer, despite the texts that were there saying it's a limited time, 1-week offer. We're going around it, free trial, unlimited so far, at least for another week. Okay, apparently Cesaro versus Jack Swagger is being teased for WrestleMania 30. It could end up being a 3-way dance with Big E Langston for the WWE Intercontinental title. So thus your 3-way dances for your WrestleMania 30 are continuing to happen. The following dates are Undertakers scheduled through the WrestleMania 30 tour. March the 10th, next week on Raw from Memphis, Tennessee. March the 17th from Raw in San Antonio, Texas. And then March 18th, SmackDown from Houston, Texas. March 24th from Raw in Brooklyn. And then the 31st, Raw in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. WWE advertising Daniel Bryan for multiple shows on the same night over the weekend or this coming weekend. Details of the following. Daniel Bryan is currently double booked for this weekend's WWE live events. He's being advertised on radio for Saturday's live event in Salt Lake City, Utah as a tag match with Big Show against The Shield, but is advertised also on TV for a match against Bad News Barrett. Bryan is also being booked for WWE's live event in Madison Square Garden in New York City on the same night. Rich Connor and .NET reader Matthew Magnuson attended Raw show and from Chicago, Illinois to set the following results from Superstars taping. Titus O'Neil defeated Zack Ryder, match number 1. And your main event for that was Los Matadors defeating Ryback. Of course, that's Ryback and Curtis Axel. And Raw kicked off with your March the 3rd episode with Josh Matthews, Booker T, and Alex Riley and Hacksaw Jim Duggan as fans filed into the arena. The panel talked about tonight's show as the WWE Superstars began taping in the background. Panel reveals the Usos versus the New Age Outlaws tonight with the titles on the line. They talk about actor Aaron Paul hosting the show tonight. Well, he doesn't appear until later in the show. Then the panel talks about WrestleMania 30. We hear a big CM Punk chant in the background, and then we see footage of Daniel Bryan challenging Triple H from last week. Then we see Daniel Bryan arriving backstage with Brie Bella. Renee Young approaches Bryan for comments on Batista. Bryan says he's going to show Batista what a real man is tonight, and it's not some jacked up wannabe movie star. Then we see footage from Batista's heel turn on SmackDown. Then the panel talks about how much heart Daniel Bryan has and how much Batista has is the real deal. We get hyped for the Shield versus Wyatt family. We see footage of John Cena's injury angle from last week. And Josh Matthews acknowledges the CM Punk chants and says we haven't heard from Punk in some time as we go to WrestleMania Rewind promo. Then we get hyped for the NXT and the WWE Network. Renee Young is backstage with the New Age Outlaws. They are not happy about defending the title tonight and say the Usos won't get a win over them again. We go down to Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton as the Los Matadors defeated Curtis Axel and Ryback for Superstars. Jerry Lawler interviews Matadors and El Torito after the match. Fans chant for CM Punk. They talk about maybe becoming the WWE Tag Team Champions. We get more hype for tonight's show as the announcers make their way out. Panel talks about Brock Lesnar and Undertaker now. And then we go backstage to Renee Young yet again and knocks on Lesnar's door with Paul Heyman. When Paul Heyman walks up, wondering what she wants. Heyman says when Brock is ready to talk, he'll be happy to. Heyman walks into Lesnar's dressing room. When we go back to the panel, Aaron Paul will be on the post-show tonight. That's it for the pre-show. Raw kicks off with Michael Cole welcoming us. Then we go right to the CM Punk's music hitting to a huge pop. A huge disappointment and as the Punk chants start up as we get Paul Heyman coming out instead to booze. Heyman hits the ring. The chants for Punks are deafening. He can't even speak. Heyman holds the microphone out so we can hear as if Heyman says Punk deserves louder than that. And they go crazy again. Heyman sits down in the middle of the ring like Punk did with his crossing his legs. Heyman says he came here tonight to tell a story about Paul Heyman, guy that was never truly wanted in WWE. A Paul Heyman guy that thought was too small to main event WrestleMania. Heyman goes on to say that they don't want him in the WWE right now either. The Punk chant started up again. Heyman came here tonight to tell us the story of a Paul Heyman guy who had the balls to say what nobody else has the balls to say. Heyman gets a big pop for Chicago. Heyman introduces himself and says this is his pipe bomb about CM Punk. Heyman then says Punk is not here tonight. Fans chant for CM Punk, but to no avail, he's not here. Heyman says nobody is more upset than he as he can't see Punk perform tonight than he is. Heyman says if Punk was here, he'd be proving he is the best in the world. Heyman wonders why Punk isn't here tonight and why nobody will talk about him anymore. Heyman says there is a finger to point and there is someone to blame. Heyman blames the fans. Heyman says that when Punk was with him, he was the longest reigning champion of the past 25 years. Heyman says the fans took Punk away from him and made Punk their hero. Heyman blames someone else, the Undertaker. Heyman says Punk's downward spiral began when they couldn't beat the streak last year. Heyman then tells Taker he wants his revenge. How do you get revenge against Taker? Heyman says he wants to see the streak taken away and conquered, and there's only one man that can do that, Brock Lesnar. Heyman introduces his best friend in the world, and out comes Lesnar. Fans chant for for Punk as Lesnar hits the ring. Heyman shows us footage from last week where Taker chokeslammed Lesnar. We come back from the video and we get Punk chant starting up again. Lesnar asks for the mic from Heyman. Lesnar says, unlike some people, he doesn't make claims that he can't back up. Lesnar says Taker's attacked him because Taker is scared to death of him. Lesnar says many have tried to conquer the streak and all have failed. The names of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and CM Punk. Lesnar calls them all failures. Lesnar says he will end the streak and drop the mic. Heyman and Lesnar leave together, but out comes Mark Henry. Henry stares down Lesnar from the stage. Lesnar tells him to bring it. Lesnar leaps off the steel steps and they start brawling. As Lesnar came off the steps, Henry caught him with an uppercut. Lesnar whipped Henry first into the steps. Fans then chanted for Punk as Lesnar grabs part of the steps and rams them into Henry's face. Then Lesnar tears apart the announcer's table and tosses the monitors into the ring. Lesnar puts Henry through the table with an F5 of Heyman looks on. Fans then chant for Punk and Lesnar nods his head at them. Heyman raises Lesnar's arm up as we go to replays. We come back to Lesnar still smiling as trainers check on Mark Henry. So the gum segment, the Usos versus the New Age Outlaws for the titles as we go to commercial. And the title match is up next, and we get back from the break. Out comes champions, New Age Outlaws, the come from Road Dogg. It says that Chicago isn't worthy of hearing their catchphrases. Out next comes the Usos. Jey Uso starts things off with Road Dogg as they go at it. Punk chants immediately start. Road Dogg hip tosses Uso into the turnbuckle and covers for a 2 count. Uso goes out to the floor and Billy Gunn stomps on him before rolling him back in. Gunn is the legal man now. Gunn with the right hands. Uso turns it around in the corner as Dogg comes back in. Dogg enters with a big clothesline for a 2 count. Dogg kept control and tosses out Uso out to the floor. Fans chant for the Usos as we go to commercial. Back for the break. And the Usos are in control. Gunn tags in and kicks Jey in the face, breaking a pin. Gunn covers for a 2. Dogg tags in and keeps up the attack. Jimmy Uso finally tags in and unloads. Jimmy and Gunn go at it. Dogg gets knocked off the apron. Samoan drop on Gunn. Dogg comes back in and catches a powerbomb. Jimmy with a back splash on Dogg. Jimmy with a corkscrew from the top for a close 2 count. Then Jimmy super kicks Dogg off the apron and sets up the finish. Winner is a new champion, the Usos. As Gunn rolls Jimmy up for a 2 count. Gunn with a big tilt the wall slam for another 2. Jimmy blocked the famouser and tagged his butter in. And then leaped from the top rope, splash on Dogg. Jey got to nailed another super kick to Gunn. Out to the floor he goes. Usos went for a top splash. Superfly style for the win. After the match, Usos celebrate for the first ever title reign. We get a clip of Aaron Paul in Need for Speed video. Bella Twins, Natalia, Asana, and Alicia Fox are backstage waiting on Paul to arrive. Apparently, Paul is giving Dolph Ziggler a ride later. Oksana says she would like to ride too because she likes fast cars. We go to commercial. Big E Langston versus Cesaro. What would you expect from this match? Yet another interference. Well, that's what happened. Back for the break, Cesaro waits in the ring. As WWE Intercontinental Champion Big E makes his way out, the bell rings and they go right at it. We see Jack Swagger and Dave Coulter at ringside. Cesaro with a huge backbreaker for a pop from the crowd. We're back and forth. Big E slams Cesaro, but Cesaro tosses him out to the floor. Swagger comes over, but gets nicked. Big E comes back in and Cesaro catches him with a Cesaro swing for a 10 count. You can see and hear crew members putting the announcer's table back together. Swagger runs in and after the swing and lays Big E out for the disqualification. Same thing happened last week. The Big E wins and retains the title. After the match, Cesaro isn't happy at all. Big E ends up laying out Cesaro with a big ending. Before leaving, Cesaro tries to recover as Zeb yells at Swagger. Next up, we get the Shield versus Wyatt family. We go straight to the ring. Out comes Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose. Back to commercial. Back from the break. Out comes Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan, Luke Harper. This is awesome. Chance starts up before the Wyatts hit the ring. Before they even get in, Rollins and Ambrose leap out onto them. Reigns meets Wyatt in the ring and eats a big Samoan drop. Bray gets off the floor. Rollins beats down Harper in the ring. As the bell rings, Harper counters with a German suplex from the top, but Rollins lands on his feet. Rollins tosses Harper and Rowan to the floor. Rollins leaps out onto Harper, ran back in, and leaped out onto Rowan. Rollins took out Harper again. Reigns smiled. Ambrose and Bray go at it. Rollins falls from the top. Harper whips Rollins into the barrier as we go to commercial. Back from the break, Harper and Rollins grounded. Harper dropped him with a big right hand and taunted the rest of the Shield. Rollins dropped Harper off the distraction. Ambrose argued with Bray on the floor, but Reigns stopped him. Rollins reached for a tag, but nobody's there. Rowan comes back in and off after Rollins. Rollins dropped him in the corner, but Harper runs in and hits Reigns with a big boot, knocking him off the apron. Ambrose tags in and unloads on Rowan. Ambrose with a flying clothesline and a drop kick to the knee. Ambrose with a big leg whip and a figure four. Harper ran into and broke the hold. Reigns took Harper to the floor and throws him over the barrier into the timekeeper's area momentarily. Wyatt lays out Ambrose in the ring. Bray with the right hand on Ambrose. Harper came back in and kept control of Ambrose. Fans started chanting for CM Punk again as Rowan worked over on Ambrose for another pin attempt. Harper came back in with uppercuts on Ambrose. Ambrose with a big clothesline out of nowhere. Ambrose also laid out Bray, but Reigns was knocked off the apron before Ambrose calls for a tag, but Rollins dropped off the apron. Just like in the video game, does just hopped off and walked up the rampway. Ambrose looked at him shocked. Rollins walks out and heads to the back. Reigns stops him and asks him, "What's going on? What are you doing?" Rollins says he can't be the glue that keeps this together. He says Rollins and Ambrose can figure it out. Bray spikes Ambrose in the corner and hits a running clothesline for a 2 count as Reigns breaks the pin. Yeah, who let the dogs out? Reigns sends Rowan to the floor with Bray. Ambrose helps. Reigns hit the big apron drop kick to the head of Harper. Ambrose mounted Bray with right hand. Reigns speared Rollins up onto the announce table and over to the floor. Harper dove out and sent Reigns back over the table. Ambrose leaped on to Harper and they brawl. Bray Wyatt sent Ambrose face first into the ring post. Then the fans started actually paying attention to this match, saying, "This is awesome." As Bray rolled Ambrose back in the ring, Bray turns upside down in the corner and hits Sister Abigail on Ambrose for the win. Winners of the match, Wyatt family. After the match, we see Rollins watching everything that happened from the ramp. The Wyatts pose over Ambrose as they go to replays on as Rollins was still looking on. Rollins doesn't look content with his decision. We go backstage to Renee Young and Batista. Batista says, "The Yes Movement is the dumbest thing he's ever seen. He can't believe what's been passing as a WWE superstar these days." Batista then says, "Guys like Daniel Bryan will never be guys like him." He says it's a fact that we have to deal with it. Back to commercial. Summer Rae and Fandangoing to the ring. As Summer Rae waits with Fandango while Emma and Santino Marella make their way out. Of course, it's Summer Rae versus Emma again. Well, it's actually a tag match. Santino started things off with Fandango momentarily. Well, they just tag each other out in and get back and forth. Another tag, then one more, and then another. Fandango finally decks Santino and unloaded with a clothesline. Fandango got back with an uppercut. Fandango kept control and got to the top, but misses the leg drop. Santino with a right hand and then a jawbreaker. Fans chanted for Dolph Ziggler. Emma and Summer both came in and they went at it. Emma got a clothesline and another, and then a third. Summer missed in the corner, and Emma wrapped her on the ropes with a tarantula move. That's what I'm calling it. Stealing Victoria's move. Emma dances around and hits a low crossbody in the corner. Santino takes the Fandango off with the Cobra. Emma applies the Emma lock on Summer for the win. After the match, Emma and Santino dance around with a funny acting up. Then we get a look at the feud between Sheamus and Christian. Still to come, Sheamus versus Christian as they go to commercial. Back from the break, and we get WWE Network promo from Stephanie McMahon. Next up, we got the actual match: Sheamus versus Christian. Out first comes Christian, then Sheamus. Fans chant for CM Punk again as the match starts. They meet in the middle of the ring, they talk trash. Christian shot Sheamus and goes to work on him. Sheamus chases Christian around the ring and grabs his leg. Sheamus sends Christian into the barrier multiple times. Sheamus rolled him back in the ring and stops away. Sheamus with a slam and then a big knee for a 2. Christian turns around to work Sheamus over. More back and forth action. Sheamus with a big clothesline. Sheamus with an Irish curse backbreaker for a 2 count. Christian sends Sheamus flying to the floor and then drop kicks him back. Christian leaped out, but hits the floor. Sheamus sends Christian into the steel steps. Christian blocks a slam and hides behind the announcer's table as we go to commercial. Back from commercial, and Sheamus got sent to the floor. Christian with more offense and a 2 count. Christian remoted and choked him. Christian got up top but misses a splash. Sheamus made a comeback but misses a high knee. Sheamus with a forearm to the chest on the apron, but Christian fought him off. Christian leaped off the top, but Sheamus caught him and dropped him on the top rope. Sheamus with forearm to the chest again. Sheamus gets a 2 count. This is awful chant started up. More back and forth action as Christian nails the Fox Splash for a close 2 count. Fan chant for CM Punk again. Sheamus with right north for a 2 count. Sheamus ends up hitting a brogue kick on the apron for the win. Still to come segment again, Daniel Bryan versus Batista. Also, John Cena will address the Wyatt family. Back from the break, as Sheamus is backstage with Renee Young, he feels he's finally getting into his groove. Christian attacks him and throws him into the backstage set, and Christian beats Sheamus with a steel stage fight. And referees pull him off and tend to Sheamus. As they end that segment, Bella Twins versus Oksana and Alicia Fox were up next. All 4 were already in the ring. Brie Bella started off with Oksana. Nikki came into the ring and hit Oksana with a knee to the face. Oksana pulled Nikki off the top and tagged in Alicia. And Alicia covers Nikki for a 2 count. Oksana came back in and slammed Brie's face into the mat. Another tag from Alicia as Brie fought back. They grounded Brie in the corner again. Alicia came back in with another 2 count. Nikki ended up hitting a missile drop kick. And Alicia gets caught in the corner, and Nikki hits her finisher for the win. Then we see Daniel Bryan making his way to the ring as they go back to commercial. Back for the break, we see stars of sirens at ringside. Daniel Bryan makes his way out to a big pop. Bryan says the people in Chicago understand one thing. The fans have a choice, have a voice. He has a voice, and tonight they are going to hijack Raw. He says, a big yes chant breaks out, the Borgasms. Bryan says he's not leaving the ring until one of 2 things happen. The Punk chant starts. Bryan says he's not leaving until Batista comes out to fight, or until Triple H comes out to answer his challenge. The music interrupts, and out comes Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Fans chant for Punk as Triple H and Stephanie in the ring. Triple H holds his arms wide open, and Stephanie laughs. Stephanie admires Bryan's tenacity as she brings up all his losses. Fans are booing big time. Stephanie says Bryan should be embarrassed to be out here, not trying to hijack Raw. Bryan doesn't care what she says. He asks Triple H about the challenge. Bryan says he's stronger than ever. Triple H asks why Bryan can't just accept his failures and inadequacies. Triple H says this is the excuse era or the blame era because these guys just blame everyone else and make excuses. Fans again chant for Punk and boo Triple H. Triple H says if someone fails in WWE, they're just not good enough. That's the reality. He says Bryan's reality is a B+ player. Triple H says B plus is pretty damn good. Why does that anger people? An asshole chant broke out. Brian says fans see through Triple H's lies. A big yes, Borgasm's chant breaks out again. Stephanie chimes in and mocks Brian for coming from the Indies. She says without her family, Brian would have nothing. She says 21 trucks came to the arena to make everything look good for Brian. The ring, the TV distribution, everything is provided by her family. Without the McMahons, Brian wouldn't have his underdog persona, his t-shirts, or fans chanting for him. She says they made Brian. Brian joked that maybe that he should face Stephanie at WrestleMania and fans should chant yes for it. Triple H says that he's 90% sure she would whoop Brian's ass too. Triple H, yeah. Triple H said 90%. He's 90% sure that she would whoop Brian's ass too. Triple H says it's just not going to happen. Triple H says he's not falling for the bait. Triple H mocks Brian and talks to him like he's a child. He says WrestleMania is the showcase of the immortals, and Brian just doesn't measure up to. Triple H then tells Brian to get out of his ring. I know Borgasm chant starts up. Brian says this isn't Triple H's ring. Stephanie says yes it is. Brian says this is the fans' ring, and they start cheering again. Triple H says everything in this arena, including the fans and Brian, belong to them. Triple H tells him again to leave the ring. Brian tells Triple H to make him. Stephanie calls for security, and out comes Kane. And the pyro goes off. But Brian leaves out and takes Kane out on the floor. Stephanie calls for security to come out again. The referee tries to pull Brian off but Kane off of Brian, but Kane, and they are having no luck. Security finally comes out as the referees are just trying to pull him out. Security finally came out, backed him up the ramp way. Stephanie yells at Brian to get out and stay out. Security forms a wall between Brian and the ring. Fans chant for Brian. Then we get Brian versus Batista will happen in the main event. Still to come, Cena will address the Wyatt family segment. Back to commercial. Back from the break, we see what happened with Lesnar and Henry from earlier. To start off the show, we go back to the pre-show panel to talk about tonight's show as we get Alberto Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler. Alberto Del Rio was already in the ring. We hear a car engine revving up, and out comes Aaron Paul driving a Shelby Mustang. Dolph Ziggler is in the passenger seat, and he gets out to a big pop. Aaron Paul sits down at commentary table. Del Rio goes right to work with Ziggler and beats him down. Del Rio kept control but misses in the corner. Ziggler with a big drop kick and right hand in the corner. Ziggler with a neck breaker. Del Rio would tilt the world back breaker for a 2. Ziggler countered with a move with a tornado DDT and gets a 2 count. Del Rio came back with an arm, working on the arm and nailed a super kick. Del Rio covered for a 2 count. Then Aaron Paul stands up on the announcer's table and gets a distraction to taunt Del Rio. Ziggler blocks a toss arm breaker with a zigzag for the pinfall in the win. After the match, Paul applauds Ziggler and heads into the ring to celebrate with him. Back to commercial. Back from break. Then they have a fall bearer as announced as the 2014 Hall of Fame. Then next up we get Big E Langston versus Jack Swagger. We go to the ring for Big E and Jack Swagger as we see what happened earlier. Before the match, they can get underway. Cesaro hits the ring and lays out Big E with a neutralizer. So we get back and forth, and Big E is again announced as the winner by disqualification. Cesaro and Swagger have words in the middle of the ring. Swagger shows Cesaro. Cesaro says they are even now. Swagger shows them again. Cesaro drops Swagger and goes for a Cesaro swing, but Zeb Coulter stops him on the mic. And Zeb tells Cesaro to be a real American and not listen to the fans. Zeb tells Cesaro to help Swagger up, and as he does, Zeb says they need to put it behind them. They reluctantly hug, and Zeb leads into a "We the People" chant. Back from the break, back from another break, out comes John Cena, gingerly walking to the ring. Cena hits the ring as he tried to run to the ring, and the crowd's chanting CM Punk again. Cena thanks them for a warm welcome, and they boo. They cheer when Cena says he was injured by the Wyatt family last week. Cena says he will not have a match tonight under doctor's orders. Fans chant, yes, now. Another big Punk chant starts up again. Cena talks about his history with Chicago and says he respects the city. Cena says he's been listening to the whole hijack stuff and the WWE Universe wants to change. A yes chant starts up. Cena says he respects that, but fans need to respect this. Success in this company is earned and change will come through him. Fans booed that again. Cena says to any WWE superstar out there, especially Bray Wyatt, come get it. The lights go out, and when they come back on, the Wyatt family is on the big screen. Bray cuts a promo and compares Cena to a championship horse who is starting to break down. Bray asks Cena how long he thinks he can fend them off. Bray says Mercy is calling Cena's name. Bray says he's the Reaper and he's going to put Cena down. Bray tells Cena to follow the brothers, and that's it. Then we see Batista heading out for the main event with Randy Orton stops him. Orton wishes Batista good luck in the match. Batista walks off and we go to commercial. Back from the commercial break, out comes Lana. She tells us all to rise for the Bulgarian Brute, and out comes Alexander Rusev. He stands up on a podium and cuts a promo in Bulgarian. Then we get a look at Hulk Hogan's return and media appearances for WWE last week. Hogan will be on next week's Raw with a big WrestleMania announcement. And this is where I'm predicting the match, the geriatric main event match between Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan himself. Next we get finally Batista versus Daniel Bryan. Out first comes the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton to watch from ringside. Batista is out next, followed by Daniel Bryan. The match begins as it goes past the 10 o'clock hour, our time. Batista shows Bryan to start the match. Batista overpowers Bryan again. Bryan takes Batista's knee out and goes to work on the leg. Bryan with kicks to the leg and a choke with his boot. Bryan with a running drop kick to the knee. Batista broke out of a half stab next. Bryan with uppercuts. Batista with a big clothesline out of nowhere, and the crowd boos. You can't wrestle chant starts out next. Batista then tosses Bryan out to the floor as we get another commercial at 5 minutes into the match. Back from the break, and Bryan is fighting back, but Batista hits a knee to the gut. Bryan ducks the clothesline and hits one of his own on Batista. Bryan with a running drop kick in the corner. Bryan goes for another, but Batista rolls out to the floor. Bryan charges and nails a suicide dive, sending Batista into the barrier. Bryan then goes to the top and nails a drop kick. Bryan with kicks to the chest. Bryan hits the roundhouse for a 2 count. Kane, Triple H, and Stephanie make their way out to watch the match. Batista sends Bryan flying into the steel steps. Batista then launches Bryan into Orton, who is still sitting in a chair. An overrated chant broke out from the crowd. Batista brought Bryan back in the ring, but Bryan nailed him with a kick to the head. Orton comes in and takes out Bryan. Winner by DQ, Daniel Bryan. Orton immediately turns for a RKO on Batista, but Bryan takes him out with a knee. Bryan with a knee on Batista. Bryan knocked Kane off the apron and sends him into Triple H, which was kind of messed up because Triple H was kind of out of position. He had to put himself into it to take the move. Bryan got ready, but Batista spears him out of midair. Kane rushes the ring, but Triple H holds him back. Fan chant for CM Punk. Triple H grabs the mic and says he's tired of Bryan's fantasy crap. But Bryan kicks him in the face. Then Batista nails the Batista bomb on Bryan. Triple H takes off his tie and nails the pedigree on Bryan. Triple H, Stephanie, and Kane stand over Bryan. Stephanie mocks him with a yes chant. Fan chant for Punk as Triple H's music hits and Raw goes off the air. Raw backstage pass post show opens up with the panel. We see Kane, Triple H, and Batista still in the ring with a fallen Daniel Bryan. Big Show and John Cena run down to help clear the ring. We go backstage to Renee Young and Stephanie McMahon. So therefore, there is no dark match main event. Stephanie doesn't believe that that was a sign that Triple H is facing Bryan at WrestleMania. Renee tries to get a word with Triple H, but he keeps walking. Byron Saxton gets a reaction from the Curtis Axel and Titus O'Neil. In the locker room, we go back to the panel to talk about tonight's show and plug the main event for tomorrow night. Then we see Byron Saxton interviewing the Usos immediately following their big title win from earlier. Usos were hyping and said that this was for their family and for their fans. They give a shout out to their late uncles Yokozuna and Umaga. We go back to the panel to hype the network's debut of WWE Main Event. We're going to look at Aaron Paul's involvement as he spoke backstage with Renee Young. He felt honored to get the Jesse Pinkman chant. Paul talks about how WWE is cool, incredible, and badass family, and he was glad to be a part of it. Then we go back to the panel for more thoughts on Raw, hype for Big Show's return to SmackDown, and more plugs for the main event from the WWE Network. And that's it for the pro show. Thanks for viewing. Peace out. God bless.